Hey everyone, this is Roman Prokopchuk, and this is the Digital Savage Experience podcast. Today I have with me Michael Bertoni. Michael is the founder and CEO of PhillyTech. UpProspect is one of the most connected technologists as well. Thank you for joining me today.
Awesome to be here. Awesome to be here, Roman. Appreciate it. Appreciate for having me on your show.
Thanks for jumping on. So tell me a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are today?
So basically, I have always been in software and technology, enterprise technology, either software or services, integrators, development. I've got this broad-based sales background. So before I started PhillyTech, from 1999 to 2015, I was working with enterprise software companies like Computer Associates, Oracle, Sun Microsystems, Jive Software, Apogee were software companies. Then I worked with software testing and application development companies like App Labs and Anexinet and Alliance Global Services, where we built software, provided testing services. And then I had a stint at Sun Microsystems and Razor Technology where I did infrastructure, cloud. So I've got this broad-based view. And then I started PhillyTech at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016, with a vision to help software companies, tech startups, high-tech companies succeed with hiring, building software, and selling.
And currently, kind of with the global situation, how have companies adapted, or what have you kind of seen from that perspective?
Roman, that is an awesome question. So, like many businesses, when the pandemic hit big time, I was doing pretty good numbers on a monthly basis. Like I was upwards of like a 40K, 50K run rate per month. And I went down below 10, and it was scary. And basically I just did what I do best. I went back into startup mode. I started doing lead generation, prospecting, networking, hunting, what I do best. And I did it for myself. And then I created a service as well. I had a sell service where I was doing this, but I created a service for everyone more. You know, basically any consultant, any person in high tech, anyone needs help with branding and lead generation. So literally I hit the streets. I created a service where I could do it all over the phone. I've always been great on the phone, and basically just built things back. And now literally it went down and then now it's back up to where it was. And now I just got to maintain it, right? You know how it is. So it was tough. I luckily had a few clients. Big shout out to Chain.io and Source Digital. Those two companies actually benefited from the pandemic because they were in the e-commerce space. You know, as everybody knows, like e-commerce has exploded in the last 6 months because everybody's sitting at home buying things. So yeah, no, it's been a great journey over the last 6 months. It was like compacted, like the first few years, like literally I went back to basics. Like I'm a startup. I got to get back to where I was.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of handling or making use or figuring out of what you're dealt. So obviously, the situation or the variables are beyond one's control, and I've had people that it's forced them to pivot, reevaluate their process, what they're doing, or go in a whole different route. Or even if they had ideas before but were on the back burner, they were kind of forced to have the time to do so, like finish their book or launch, a side hustle or do something. So I think based on the market conditions, it was, you basically fold and give up or figure it out.
Right, right. And that's my attitude is not to fold and give up. I mean, my attitude is you got to keep going, man. Basically, I'm saying, and I've said this to many people, and I posted about this and blogged about this. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing now. I wouldn't have launched UPROSPECT, which is my sales and lead gen service. Like I wouldn't have launched it really on a great level because I wanted to create an offering. I mean, that offering, it goes as low as $500 and it goes to as high as like $5,000 a month, right? So it's like I needed to create something that I could create revenue with. And my vision was people still need help connecting, setting up meetings, generating leads. You know this, that you do it, right? You do some of this in your business, right? So it's like, people still need this. It's not like business has stopped. So it's been a great journey.
Yeah, I agree. So, what motivates you to currently succeed? Obviously, those motivations may have changed over time, but what currently motivates you to succeed?
So I have always been very passionate about helping people, sometimes to my detriment, where I would help people and I always wanted to help people. So I'm a go-giver. That's always been my mentality, right? So I really have a vision at this time to help 1 billion knowledge workers. So there basically in 2019, you could look this up. It's awesome. We hit 1 billion knowledge workers, people that use information to do their job, right? You kind of call white collar, whatever, but there are 1 billion knowledge workers. In my personal opinion, all of those knowledge workers, whether you have a full-time job or you have your own company, you need to be connecting with people. You need to be branding yourself online and you need to be meeting with people. You need a way to do that. The statistics show that everyone wants to start their own business, right? Even if you work for another company, you probably have a side hustle. You're like, God, I wish I could start my own business. So we give the tools with UPROSPECT to get your brand built, help you generate meetings, A/B test your hypothesis about your business, right? Start stuff on the side and then eventually do it yourself. Because my vision is to help 1 billion people. My feeling is in 10 years, more and more people are going to be working for themselves and they want to work for themselves.
Yeah, I agree, and it's great always to have an opportunity where your work or what you do, for your company, career, or whatever your business is, where it directly impacts others and can obviously carry that knowledge through, and you would be, a direct reflection of the success of that company as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's exciting to help people. And I mean, if it wasn't for a pandemic, to your original question, I wouldn't have created this service that people tell me is pretty inexpensive. They're like, Mike, you could probably be charging more for what you're doing, but it's tough right now. And again, I'm testing out my own hypotheses with this, and it's really working. Believe it or not, a financial services firm, like a big Fortune 100 financial services firm, financial advisors, the biggest challenge of financial advisors that are all working from home now is connecting with other people and setting up meetings. So I have a $200,000 to $500,000 opportunity to help 200 to 500 financial advisors. So it's like when I showed this to them, they were like, "Yeah, Mike, this is a no-brainer. None of our guys and gals use these type of tools." I mean, you get what I'm saying. I mean, there's so many people that need to understand how to brand themselves online, how to connect with people, and it's a huge market.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of people see the negatives, let's say, of social media or different platforms in terms of time sucks or serious addiction in terms of that kind of dopamine spike and addicted to kind of that like and follow and share, just waiting for that. But it's making the best of a platform or whatever and utilizing it for what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what's one thing you may have seen as a weakness in yourself in the past that you've turned around and utilized as a strength today?
It's a great question. So somebody asked me this on another podcast that I did. So my biggest strength is my biggest weakness. And I've always known this. My biggest strength is that I have an amazing amount of energy. And what that means is if I'm out there outreaching to people, I'm bringing in opportunities, I have too much to work on all the time. And is it strategic? So I've just, in the last few months, said to myself, geez, I got to look at my business more strategically. Because I get out my energy, my passion, my enthusiasm. When I was younger, I could relate this to I'm really into superheroes. I could relate this to, like, my favorite superhero is Superman, but then my alter ego superhero is Hulk. So when I was younger, I could not control the energy. So there was always thought process and intelligence behind it. But when people would see it, they'd be like, geez, Mike's out of control. I've been able to control it. I'm 46 years old now. I'm able to control it. So this energy, this enthusiasm, this passion, I've been able to control it and synthesize it. So that's been the biggest challenge. I mean, I'm 46, right? I wish I would have figured this out when I was 36, right? But I didn't, right?
Yeah, I
So
agree.
that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have that kind of negative that then they are forced or they can channel either in the right direction and wrong direction. And obviously, the way you tap it, you use it as a strength, and then use it to your greater good in terms of what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
So, what's one piece of advice you have for the audience, personal or professional?
So you have to figure out, if you are listening to this podcast, you need to figure out, what is your brand? What are you all about? And it can't be on the social platforms only, right? You need to brand yourself. And when people come to your brand, they need to come to your place. It could, so LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all these social channels are awesome. Awesome. You have to figure out how to brand yourself, but you have to bring people to your brand, right? So website is kind of table stakes, right? It's like, yeah, we need a website. My feeling is you need something where with you prospect, the concept of a landing page, the concept of something where someone goes to where you are and they just like, oh, I get it. People don't have attention span, right? They need to understand what Roman does, or Michael Bertoni, in 5, 6, 7 seconds. What do you do? That's what you prospect is, right? It's about branding, but then it's about connecting with people. So that's one big thing. The other thing is your connections. Your connections are everywhere, typically. They're in your phone, they're in your LinkedIn, they're in your Facebook, they're in your Twitter, they're in your Square. Who is your warm network? These are people. I've identified about 500 people that I call PhillyTech friends. It's very easy to do. Roman, you can do it. It's like, you're very easy. You have friends. And these are people that want to help you. If you send them something, they'll probably like your stuff, they'll whatever. So we teach how to organize that data. And then we also teach how to organize your ideal targets and personas, right? So you need to brand yourself, but then you need a system by which to connect with people in an easy way. And that's what UPROSPECT is. It's a simple branding mechanism, but then it's a system that, so if you have a full-time job and you're listening to this podcast, what if you lost your job? Wouldn't it be great if you got a job in a few days because you have like literally 10 people you've already connected with that said, hey, when you lose your job or lose your job, I'm going to hire you. People don't think like this, right? Everybody's a brand, right? So in the background, you need to have this thing happening where you're setting up meetings with ideal people, your warm network, telling people what you're doing, right? That sort of thing. So those are some pieces of advice that I'd like to give the audience.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and everyone, like you said, everybody is a brand, and everybody nowadays is kind of their own moving, acting, whatever you want to call it, media agency. So whatever you're putting out to the world, whether it's on social media, any other means, in person, anything, it's a reflection of who you are and your brand. And obviously, when your network is strong and you position yourself in terms of like portraying of who you are, your value, kind of your unique value proposition, it's a lot easier to one, obviously, if you lose a job, if you're in that role, your example, to get something because everybody knows, your skill set and your abilities. And two, in terms of kind of offering value as well. So being genuine about the branding as well.
Right. No, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So I really appreciate you stopping by today. Can you let the audience know how they can find you?
Yeah, so very easy. So I am the most, I branded myself this, but I am one of the most connected people on LinkedIn. So I have over 17,000 first connections on LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn as a core aspect of my branding and my business since 2004. So it's Michael C. Bertoni in LinkedIn. That is the best way to connect with me, and let's get together and set up a meeting. The other way is phillytech.co, my website, phillytech.co. And basically, you could set up a meeting with me there. You could connect with me in a lot of different ways there. So, Romans, I really appreciate you bringing me on your podcast, your webcast here. This is awesome. And looking forward to connecting with you more.
Awesome. Thanks again for stopping by.